Hola Dora, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien, gracias. Hello, and welcome to another edition of how important it is to use common sense and logic to work stuff out. I had such a blast yesterday up until I had to split 1 hour and 11 minutes into 49 reels. I fell asleep, 2 unscheduled naps, somewhere between reels 25 and 30, and another one between reels 38 to 40, I do believe. What a nightmare, but I need to get them up there. I have decided, right, that the importance of doing this, right, because if I was for some reason bleeding out, right, and I knew I had about a minute left, in that minute that I had left, I would just be kicking myself so much for not having done more of this, because it's an impossible pill to swallow to think that I leave my kids on a planet that is being absorbed in deceit, right? Is it not all about the kids? It sounds corny, doesn't it? People say, oh, yeah. It is though, right? I have offspring. I want to see them happy. The end. So I'm going to do what I need to do for my offspring and their friends for that matter to get a fairer crack at life and not be forced, because it is being forced to get swept away with a narrative that during a solar eclipse somehow somebody reckons that there's finite light involved. It would be a terrible way to go. That last minute, a minute left. How do you get everything that I know out in a minute? You don't. During a solar eclipse, when the sun is directly behind the moon, as viewed from the sweet spot shadow, moon shadow from planet Earth, what we have is absolute light. Nothing else. There is no other logical explanation. What we have here it's perfect. Nothing else needs to be said. Everybody gets on with their lives and we'll go and talk about something that matters. How to move forward with common sense and logic as the foundations for doing what we're doing, right? At the moment, what you have here is 1 plus 1 equals, I could have left it 2, equals 86.7 in a different colour. How is it possible that photons are taking 8 minutes and 20 seconds to reach that moon, to then cast that shadow? If Earth, we know the story, it turned on its axis by 2.08 degrees. In fact, 1 plus 1 equals 86.7 squared in a different colour. This is what is happening. And if this carries on, nothing will ever make sense again. But people won't even know that it doesn't make sense because they're so used to 86.7 squared as the answer for the equation 1 plus 1, that how would anybody ever know? I'm going to keep try and keep these down to about 10 minutes, right? That would be good, really good, because it's 6 reels, 6 or 7, ends at 10, so look, we've got 5 minutes left. This morning, I like to do my quick absurdity check to see what's new, and this piece of soothing music came on. I'm like, Zen.
What is nothing? It's an extremely difficult question to answer.
Chaos.
Because if you think about it, wherever you look around you, there always seems to be something there.
Ay, 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 caramba! Sunday morning. Let's try and think about that. It's impossible, isn't it? Now, one thing about that, I'm sure I used that clip about 3 weeks ago. This morning it says 2 days. But it's obviously reposted again. It's like throwing another net out, isn't it? Just catch a few more prawns. I'm not using anybody's state secrets by using common sense and logic to work things out, right? I'm not using anybody else's information, right? I am not lying. I'm not deceiving anyone. And the end result of what I'm doing will hopefully end up with people learning how to trust their own judgment and how to work things out using logic and common sense, right? It is the only way ahead. To carry on believing 1 + 1 equals 86.7 squared. In fact, please if you're cute, right? To carry on believing that, if this is the foundation for the future of humanity, if this is the foundation for the age of the universe, for the speed of light, you are going to get swept along with no way of getting off the train, because it's a dead end, right? It's going to be a case of Interstellar. Remember the end of the movie, Interstellar? A friend of mine gave me a nudge about this. At the end of the movie, it turns out that the guy who was running the show, who was working everything out, telling people what was what and what to do and what they needed, right as he was about to die, he said, "No, I've been telling porcupines." Say what? So the whole of humanity was, am I getting goosebumps? I think I am. It could be the cold, but I think I just had a moment. The story, the moral of the story is, why lie to people? People don't need hope. Hope from what? You only need hope if there is an impending disaster. There is no impending disaster. Climate change, we can nut that one out in 30 seconds. Nobody in the universe has enough knowledge, enough to know enough about all of the variables that are involved in this planet's climate or any other planet's climate. There are simply too many variables. So when anybody claims that something like carbon dioxide at 1 to 2 parts per million added to a million parts of oxygen every year is the reason that the planet's temperature has been climbing by 0.01 degrees every year. 100 years, 1 degree. It's ridiculous. Nobody can know that, but everybody has taken it in hook, line and sinker. right? So that's climate change, man-made climate change, done and dusted. If you have a logical mind, you will know right now, after hearing that, which it's true, nobody can know everything that's involved with the climate, so how can anybody predict the climate? How can anybody say why it's changing? Nobody knows why it's changing. It's a freaking planet with a molten core in an elliptical orbit around an unpredictable star that just so happens to radiate absolute light. We know this because during the solar eclipse, when somebody finds themselves in the sweet spot of planet Earth, they will see that the sun is directly behind the moon. Shadow, you can see the sun's corona. That means it's directly behind. That means, and there is no logical out, that means, ladies and gentlemen, that we are once again back to 1 + 1 = 2 in the same colour. Therefore, it's wrapped up perfectly. There's nothing else to talk about. Photons? No, there are no photons. So anything that branches off from a 299792458 meters per second from here onwards can be put on the fiction shelf, right? It's logic and common sense. So all of that road is going nowhere. It's so obvious, I shouldn't really need to keep repeating it. What are we on? See, it skipped from the 10 somehow. Right, the mission is, I'm not treading on anybody's toes, I'm doing what everybody else is doing, giving people an option. Nobody's being forced, and I am not going to say to you, listen, believe this, because I'm going to show you how common sense can be used to dissect just about anything, right? And it's beautiful. Our kids deserve beautiful, right? They deserve the truth. They didn't come here, get one freaking coin to play somebody else's XXX game, did they? So, on that note, I'll post this before it gets to 1 hour and 11 minutes, and I'll be back. Laters.